Hello, welcome back to J&M Electrobikes. In today's video we're going to give a quick overview as to the differences between the standard CR6 and the brand new CR6 Pro. So as you may have already seen from some of our other videos, Horwin have recently released the CR6 Pro into the UK market. Now, Horwin already have an L3E category electric motorbike in the UK, which is the standard CR6. But there are a few things that really set these two bikes apart. So the biggest difference, and the thing that most people will be excited about, is the CR6 Pro comes with a 5-speed manual gearbox. Of course, the standard CR6 is a twist and go, single speed, direct drive via chain to the rear wheel, and that gives you a top speed of around 57-58 miles an hour. The CR6 Pro has the 5-speed manual, so you get your clutch on your left hand, you have a gear selector on your left foot, and it is a 5-speed, 1 down, 4 up, very similar to any traditional petrol motorbike that you might come across. And the biggest reason they've done that is to try and bring in the traditional bikers into the world of electric. Now Horwin, even with the standard CR6, didn't have to do this, but they put a foot brake rather than having a brake up on your left hand on the handlebars, which is what a lot of the other electric motorbike brands have done when you don't have to have any gears. Of course, you don't have a clutch, therefore it makes sense to put the rear brake on the handlebar. But there's, like I say, the standard CR6 had the foot brake as standard straight away, which was kind of a first port of call to say, you know, we're reaching out to the traditional petrol bikers. And they've just gone that extra bit further with the CR6 Pro. So one of the other differences between these two bikes is actually their power output. The standard CR6 has 3.5 kilowatts continuous power and 5.5 kilowatts of peak power. The CR6 Pro now has 5 kilowatts of continuous power and just over 10 kilowatts of peak power. So the power differences is really quite different, and you genuinely do notice the difference when you're riding the Pro versus the standard CR6. Now of course, the standard CR6 has more than enough power to literally be classed as a 125cc equivalent. But the CR6 Pro just pushes the boundaries a little bit further. And you've got lots of torque on both of these bikes. Being electric, obviously they have loads of torque as standard. But the fact that you've got the gearing on the CR6 Pro means you can kind of play with that torque band a little bit better. And at the higher speeds, normally electric motors have their peak torque from almost 0 RPM, and then as the RPMs climb, you tend to see a drop off of your torque over time. Now because you've got the CR6 Pro with the gearbox, obviously when you start feeling that torque dip, you can change gear and get yourself right back up into the peak torque zone. So even in the higher speeds, the acceleration on the Pro is far better than any of the other L3E category electric motorbikes. Now the other big difference between these two is the styling. So the standard CR6 Pro comes with this really nice long PVC seat as standard, but you have options to upgrade to leather. So this is a black leather seat. So nice long flat seat on the standard CR6, but you've got this really beautiful sculptured leather seat on the CR6 Pro with that nice leather insert. It's really well stitched. You've got an embossed Horwin logo on the back, and the brown leather really sets off the darker colours on the bike, you know, the black frame and the faux carbon fibre all over the tank and the front sections. So as standard in terms of your options, your normal CR6 comes with a few different colour options. You can have white, black, a British racing green and an electric blue. You also get different frame colours depending on which colour choice you have, and then of course you've got the option to change the seat. Currently the CR6 Pro comes as it is. But that's a really good thing because it genuinely sets itself apart from the rest of the range. The CR6 is a fantastic looking bike, but they've really upped the game with the CR6 Pro, and you can tell the difference, and I think that's really important between the two bikes. You can see a CR6 but you know when you see a CR6 Pro. One of the other differences between these two bikes is the way that they charge. So the standard CR6 has an integral charger, so it's all built in, which means all you have to carry is a single cable which fits really nicely in the tank storage area, and you plug into the side of the bike, plug into your 3-pin plug, or even buy a Type 2 adapter so that you can plug directly into the car charging network. So that's a really handy thing, the fact that you've got the charger on board. With the CR6 Pro, obviously they've had to make space for the fact that they have that 5-speed gearbox in there. So you now have an off-board charger for the CR6 Pro, and unfortunately it doesn't fit in the tank storage area. So, I mean, that does mean that you have to carry your charger around in a backpack, or even if you've got a top box, which isn't the end of the world. It's a fairly small piece, so it's really easy to carry around with you. So it's not that much of a detractor, although we are hoping that future versions of the CR6 Pro, maybe they'll do some space management inside there and they'll be able to get an integral charger back in. So that's really the main differences between these two bikes. So it's really exciting, and we're really glad that Horwin have actually gone to the effort to do this, because it's not something that you genuinely need on an electric motorbike. There are plenty of bikes out there that are twist and go, the same as the standard CR6. They're reaching speeds of 60 plus miles an hour. So you don't need the gearbox to achieve that. But what you do need the gearbox to achieve is that genuine interaction, that manual gear change. You're feeling the speed, the torque, the power curve, and it genuinely puts that as a completely individual, unique proposition in the electric motorbike market. So it's really interesting to get these two bikes side by side and show you what the differences are between the two. Both the CR6 and the CR6 Pro are fantastic bikes to ride. They've got fantastic suspension, really good brake systems. So for commuting or even for a weekend ride out, either one of these bikes is absolutely fantastic. They're really well put together. You can genuinely feel the build quality and the effort that Horwin have gone to make this bike as good as it is. If you want to gain first-hand experience as to the difference between these two, obviously feel free to come along and see us, book yourself in for a demo, and you'll really be able to gauge the difference and the reason why Horwin have put a 5-speed manual gearbox on an electric motorbike. So thanks very much for watching. Please give this video a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel for plenty more videos to come.